Now we're done with what to sell. I've shown you how to get what to sell. Now we're going to talk about who to sell to. Who do we sell to? Basically, you sell to everybody. Everybody that you know lives in where you are targeting and fall in the demography of your target audience. This is what I mean. So for example, if we go on TikTok, assuming you're going to sell on TikTok and you're selling the car scanner, okay, you simply and obviously will sell to people who fall into the demography of let me just stop all of this. I hope the sound is not on.
All right, you can have it.
All right, so like I said, it is the demography of the folks you are trying to sell to that you put into consideration. All right, so if I'm selling a car scanner, I obviously will be targeting mostly women. I mean men, mostly. You could charge both men and women, but mostly men, and mostly men in their 30s, mid-30s or early 30s. So who you sell to is really dependent on what it is you are selling, basically. And who do you sell to? You sell to people in the area that your product or your supplier is based. This is what I mean. If your product and your supplier is in Ghana, this is where you have both your product and your supplier live in Ghana. The thing you need to do, the smart thing you need to do is sell to people who obviously live in Ghana, because the supplier would have to deliver the item to the person. And Ghana is a very small country, so it's easy for the items to move around. So who you sell to are people that live in that country or in that city. So if you have a supplier in Paris, all right, it makes sense that your customers are people who live in Paris. If the supplier lives in South Africa and your product in South Africa, it makes sense that your audience or your customers, your clients are in South Africa. So that's who you sell to. And make sure it is age appropriate and gender appropriate. Do not sell things that are not age appropriate or not gender appropriate, meaning that if you're targeting male, don't start selling them female items. You're targeting things that are female centric. Don't target. So I'm sure this makes a lot of sense. Now, we've talked about who to sell to. The next thing we're talking about is where to sell. Remember, like I said, I'm trying to make this training as straight and simple for you to understand. No much story, so that it's easy for you to grasp and apply it. That's why I'm trying to make it not very long. Feel free to ask your questions. I'm always there to answer them for you. Now, where to sell? Where do you sell your items? There's several places you can sell them, but the places that I use Facebook and Instagram. Now with Facebook, it's quite easy. You could start posting on obviously you create a page and start posting your items. In IG, you do the same thing, start posting your items. But then with Instagram is easier because then you can boost your posts with Instagram. However, what I do is I run sponsored ads on Facebook. That would be part of the last videos I would be making. I mean, you'll be watching the video that talks about how I run my sponsored ads on Facebook for this business. But you could easily do it with IG and boost your post. It's cheaper. With IG, you can boost your post using like 1, 2 or 2,000 naira per day. But with Facebook, what I do, but I spend 10K per day. All right, that's just for you to know, but you don't necessarily have to go this route. Okay, now another thing you can also do is if you have somebody, a friend, a junior sister, a cousin or whatever that you know is an influencer, or have reasonable amount of people following her, you can tell the person to just talk about the product, even if she's not owning she doesn't have the product. Talk about the product and try to make like an advert video. You take that advert video, post it on your Instagram, and target Ghana, for example, when you're running your ads. Like I said, I'm going to do another video that talks about ads. I'm just giving you an overview of where to sell. So the places you sell is basically anywhere you can get people, which are Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Although with TikTok, you really cannot run ads except you have a VPN. And that's not going to be part of this tutorial, because that's a bit more technical part. With TikTok, for you to run ads with TikTok, you need to spend in dollars, and I know not everybody have a virtual card or have access to a digital account, so we'll be sticking with just Facebook and Instagram. With TikTok, I do organic traffic. I don't ads on TikTok. I just post the product, post reviews, and I get sales from TikTok. I'm also going to talk about how I do all of that in a bit. So you could see that we've talked about where to sell, talked about who to sell. Now let's talk about how to sell. Yes, you run ads, that's one part of it, but this is the process